Number 144 of What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with us, Geeks on Tour. Hey, let's see if that works.
Trying something different today.
Oh, we're outside, and we are in Illinois, Springfield, Illinois, right?
Yep.
We'll get there. Our beginner's lesson today is all about smartphone camera tips. But first, a quick general tip. What do you have there, Chris?
This one's going to be about Google Maps and Navigate To. We taught a bunch of in-person classes last week at the Escapade Rally, and when we happened to do this thing that we do all the time, we got a lot of gasps from the audience saying, oh, I didn't know you could do that, so I have to make sure that you all know you can do that. On Google Maps, you can just ask it to start navigating. Now, some people might think that you can't do that on an iPhone, because if you ask Siri to navigate you someplace, she's going to use Apple Maps. If you have a Google phone, an Android phone, and you ask, okay, Google to do that, it will use Google Maps. But on either of them, you can go straight to Google Maps. So let me show you on my iPhone, but as I say, this would work exactly the same on an Android.
Okay. You need that.
And yeah, go into the document camera.
There we
go. And I would just open Google Maps. I already had it done. And then you just find the little microphone. That's the point, is to tap on the microphone. Then Google Maps is listening to you. Navigate to Allegan, Michigan.
Head south toward East Cinnamon Avenue, then turn left onto East Cinnamon Avenue.
And that is all you have to do. It is just amazing, and we use that all the time. And it's really amazing how much Google knows. We can ask it to navigate to the nearest Elks Lodge, and it knows where that is, or Allegan, Michigan, which is where we are going to next.
Right.
Okay, so that's my quick tip. Just ask Google Maps to navigate you to someplace.
Right. What does this button do? Hey everyone, I'm Jim, and here together with my wife Chris, we are Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about your iPhone or your iPad or your Android phone? And how do you learn about these amazing devices?
Well, we are geeks who teach as we travel around the country. And we think the best way to learn is on a regular basis. So no matter where we are, we try to do this short class, a weekly class on smartphones and tablets. All our videos are collected on our website at geeksontour.com.
Cool. So today's show, we'll have all about camera tips that we think, Chris thinks, that you should know. So if you have questions about these during the live show here, use the YouTube chat window. Warren wants to know what time zone. We are in Central Time Zone. And by Wednesday afternoon, this episode will be posted at geeksontour.com at the weekly class, along with the show notes for premium members. Well, Chris, where are we now?
Springfield, Illinois, land of Lincoln, and we found a great place to park the RV at the fairgrounds here. And it's just about a mile or two from the Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum. So we rode our bikes there the other day.
It was warm that day.
It was really hot. So we didn't think we'd be able to do this outside today, but it has cooled down. Because the wind has picked up.
It's pretty breezy, but we're gonna give it our best shot here.
And I do want you to just see the scene where we are sitting right now. Jim hauled all of his equipment, all of our normal studio equipment, outside and set it up because I said I thought it would be fun.
She's right. A little stressful, but a lot of fun. That's what we're here for,
The
right?
hardest part is always sound. And when people are in any amount of wind, you usually hear this whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. So this is a test of, what do you call this?
That's a dead cat.
It's not really, but that's what they call it because of just all this hair. And it seems to be working pretty good at
Okay.
eliminating the wind sound and letting you hear us talk. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, we're going to give it a shot. If it's terrible, we'll have to re-record, but no big deal. All right. So our beginner's lesson, smartphone camera tips everyone should know.
Yeah. We just, as I say, we were at the Escapade RV rally last week, and we taught a pre-rally 2-day, 6 hours, 3 hours one day, 3 hours the next, hands-on smartphone photography class. And we have a workbook for that. And it goes over lots of tips from smartphone cameras and to Google Photos. That workbook is available in PDF form on our website for members. But we want to just show you the number one things. So I think I have about 6 tips.
All right.
Out of the couple dozen that we teach in the 2 days. 6 tips that I just think are so important for everybody to know. Tip number 1, clean the lens.
Oh, yeah. Look at this.
Clean the lens. And this is an example. This photo on the left was taken with a dirty lens. The photo on the right, the only difference was I cleaned the lens. And especially the selfie lens. I mean, I think people understand that this is a lens on the back of the phone, but they don't realize that when they're taking a selfie, there is a lens there too. It's just a little dot. Make sure to clean it. And we will demonstrate that when we get to the demonstration part. Number 2, just to know, the rear lens is better at taking photos. I mean, we love selfies.
Right.
We take selfies all the time.
A lot of people do.
Maybe too much, but it can be hard to compose that picture. So if you have people around that you can say, hey, will you take our picture? It will be better just by virtue of it using this lens. And it will be better by virtue of a person holding it and able to compose the picture. But the rear lens, if you look at the specifications for your camera, the rear lens is usually a lot more pixels, megapixels. And you'll notice that when your camera app is using that lens, you have more options. When you're on selfie, some of the options just go away because that lens isn't as good. So we think that's a tip that you should know. And in this photo, just notice how the photo on the left is of Jim taking a picture of other people. This is at the Lincoln's tomb.
Yeah, I'll usually offer, if I see people trying to get a group or even just a couple, I will offer to take their picture, and very often they'll reciprocate and take our picture. I think that's pretty cool.
And it's a great way to start a conversation.
Sure. Where are you from?
Met people. Yeah. Where are you from? What are you doing? How do you like it here? What else should we see around here? So, something I see people doing is taking pictures with their tablets, with their iPads or their Android tablets. And first of all, you look kind of stupid, don't you? With this great big. But second of all, these are not as good a camera as the phone. Some people think they're better because after they take the picture and they look at it,
it's a nice
looks
big
better
screen.
because it's a nice big. But the lens is not as good. Are we having fun yet?
Oh man, we're having so much fun. I don't know what to
Wind
do.
is starting to whip.
Where are we? There we are.
But it still sounds okay.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. So phones are better than tablets. View your pictures on a tablet, but take the pictures with a phone. Now, one of my pet peeves is hold the phone like a camera. Usually that means horizontal. And that's different from holding it as a phone. When you're holding it as a phone, it's vertical. When you're holding it as a camera, hold it horizontal. Unless there's a good reason to hold it vertical. If you're taking a picture of a waterfall, okay, I'll let you hold it vertical.
She won't holler at you then.
Just one other thing to note, if you're holding it like a camera, one of your fingers is probably right on the volume buttons. And instead of taking your other hand off to push the shutter button on the screen, you can use one of the volume buttons. That will snap your shutter. The volume button will. Now, here's an example. Lots of RVers have seen this statue. We didn't know about it, but just happened upon it on the way up here. Superman, where is he?
Metropolis,
Illinois.
Illinois, right.
Metropolis, Illinois. Now, if there's a reason for a vertical photo, this is one. But even with this, I will also take a horizontal, because watch what happens if you use like Google Photos Movie Maker to put pictures together. Just watch this. Look what happens to the vertical picture when it gets combined into a horizontal movie. So I always take at least one.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because people haven't realized, unless you've made movies or slideshows, how the vertical ones can mess everything up. You don't want to lose your head.
Oh my, this is fun.
All right. So
All right.
Panorama mode. Most all phones have panorama mode. You might have to hunt for it. On the iPhones, it's right there on the camera. It's called Pano. On the Androids, you might have to hunt for it. And we do have a couple of videos to show on this. So
Okay, which one do you want to do?
Android 464.
Hi, this is Chris from Geeks on Tour, and this
That's not the right one.
is about using the camera and setting it to focus. And this is quick.
There you go.
Taking a panorama.
Go louder. I'm not hearing it.
Samsung Galaxy S5. Panorama with the C on the picture. It's too wide for a normal photo.
Maybe I should talk over it. So the idea is, if you have a picture you want to take where it's too wide, you can't capture it all just in a photo. On the Android Samsung, it's a mode. Panorama is a mode. Now you do have to hold your phone vertical so that you get as much height as possible. And then you tap the shutter button and you start panning across. And it will capture the whole scene automatically. It's not like the old time when we had to take several shots, bring them into a computer, and stitch them together. This just does it all for you, and you end up with a beautiful panorama, one picture of the whole scene. Now, on the iPhone, it's pretty much the same.
And which one?
463. Same thing, I'm taking the same scene. The iPhone forces you to hold your phone vertical when you go into pano mode, because it knows you need to have height if you're going to have that much width. And then it has an arrow that is telling you which way to pan. And you tap the button down at the bottom, it turns into a square while it's capturing. And then you tap it again when you're finished, and you have a panorama photo all done for you. So use that. I love panoramas. I take panoramas all the time. And one little thing that you might not know, on the iPhone, I've seen people struggle to get into the right position so that they're going from left to right.
Yep.
You don't have to, and I will show that when I get to the demo part. Next thing to know, take a look at your lenses, especially the rear lens. If you have two, then that means you have an expensive phone for one. That's the Apple Plus. The Plus sizes are primarily the phones that have the two lenses. And the idea is that one of those lenses is a true telephoto. It is an optical zoom, not just it doesn't just enhance, it doesn't just expand the picture. It actually zooms in optically. And on your camera screen, you'll see a little button that says 1x. If you tap it, it goes to 2x.
And I just read that the new Apple iPhones may have 3 lenses on them. I can't imagine.
Wow.
So
yeah,
they're getting better and better.
So if you have optical zoom, use it. And you can still zoom in from there, but at least start by going to the telephoto lens and then zoom in even further from there. And I will demonstrate that when we get to the demo. If you have those two lenses, and especially if it's an iPhone, you have another option called portrait. And what that means is it blurs the background. Now, if you don't have the iPhone, there is similar settings on Android, but they're called something different. It might, on Jim's camera, it's called lens blur. Others call it depth effect.
Right. So I have a Google phone. Mine is a Pixel XL, and it has some settings and some features that a lot of other cameras don't have, but it's also missing some that their cameras do have.
It's technically known as bokeh.
B-O-K-E-H.
I think it's a French word. Hey, our spinners are starting to go here. So you can get good depth of field. That's what it's about. Bokeh talks about the blurry background, and it makes it look like you took it with a real camera, because that's what they do.
Our tree is falling on us.
Flash. Know where your flash setting is. Know how to turn it on and off. If you leave it on auto, it will go off at times that are not appropriate. That top picture there is a picture taken at a concert. Now, if the flash on auto, the flash is going to go off because it's dark.
Right.
But what good does that do?
It's going to light up the back of the head of the person in front of you, and
Right.
not much more.
And believe it or not, with no flash, most of today's cell phone cameras will capture that stage not too bad. They're really good with low light.
Right, because they're computers, and they really understand light, and they can make those changes much better than manual cameras ever could.
So we say leave it off. But you do need to know how to turn it on, because there are situations like this picture at the bottom when somebody is in the shade and there's backlighting, you need to fill. But that's only when you're really close. So do not use your flash unless you're really close and you need to. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of demo, and let me get set up here. I need to get the iPhone on, so hold on just a second.
We'll wait for you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. This is, there we go, getting there. And I set this up, but it seems to time out or something. And
Well, if you have any questions there, go ahead and put them into the chat. Laverne says, good hints, thanks. And Warren says the sound is good. That's
Yay.
nice to know.
Great. And let's see if that's going to do the trick. Almost there.
Almost there.
Just have to find where that little allow button is. There we go. Okay. So now the reason I had to do this is because I don't want you to be looking at the screen. I want you to be looking at the phone, what the phone is seeing. Oh, come on. I did all that. And it's saying I didn't.
Oh,
Well, maybe we're going to need to show them your phone only.
oh, it looks like it's there. Is that yours?
That's your
Oh,
phone.
that's my phone. That
Yeah,
works.
the Android works lots better.
Androids
for
are
this.
much.
Yeah.
That's the ongoing joke
Yeah.
that we have when we do these things live with a in-person audience, and yeah,
Okay.
we go back and forth.
Well, why don't you show them then how Panorama works on your phone, because his is quite different.
Okay.
Let's see if this is gonna. There we go. So you are seeing what is on Jim's screen there. So he's pointing,
Now they are.
and now you don't have a 2x, do you?
No, I
because
don't
you
have.
don't have a
I
second.
just have a single lens. So if I wanted to go over here and take a panorama, our setup here, I would first turn the camera vertical and go into panorama mode.
So he just tapped those 3-line menu in the upper left.
And then I have several choices.
You can.
Okay, and I get these dots. So I can go and I press the shutter button.
Okay, so there's no arrow in this Panorama camera app. You just move around to where those dots are, and you can move up and down too, right? Or is this just going left to right or right to left?
Well, with this setup, notice the very top line there. I have horizontal, I have vertical,
Ah.
I have a fisheye and a wide angle. So all of those things are available to me, and it just gives me a different setup. See
Wow.
where the dots are in the corner?
Yeah, lots of different options for. Wow. Oh, that's the fisheye.
That's the fisheye.
Okay.
And
And-
then I even have one that is a photosphere. Photosphere is something that is pretty cool when you get to see them. It's like when you can drag it around the screen. So that's mine.
Okay. And still trying to.
It's still
get
trying to get to
mine.
the iPhone, huh? All right.
Yeah, it
Well.
says allow. Okay. Now.
Says it's been.
Because there's something I want to show you here.
Yeah, that's important.
And then I get it and I tap it again.
And you
All
make
right.
it go away. We never have problems like this.
No
Unless we're
connection
live.
to partner. Partner did not connect to router. That's a new one. All right.
So Laverne wants to find that portrait option on the Pixel.
Yeah. Okay.
She has the new Pixel, Pixel 2 XL.
Do you have 2 lenses?
That would be the key. If you have 2 lenses, you would know.
But now you can do it on yours. It's just, it's not called portrait and it's not actually using 2 lenses. It's calling lens blur.
Right.
Can you show that? Maybe?
Yeah. If I go into my settings.
Okay, wait a second. Let me get back. There. Okay, so now they're.
Okay. Now they're seeing that.
Yep.
I'll tap on the 3-line menu and see the one down there that says lens blur.
Now
And-
look at me.
Yeah. There we go. And when I tap the shutter, wait a minute, lens blur went away. Lens blur. There we go. Tap the shutter, and it says to raise the device while the subject is centered, and then it'll process it. It takes a couple of seconds to process.
And it's only after it processes that you see the blurry background, right?
Whoops. I think I did something wrong. Let's go back and try that again. Can't isolate. There we go. Let's see if that one worked.
Background might be pretty close here.
Yeah, it is. It's tough in this situation. We didn't practice this piece enough.
All right, it's still processing.
Yeah, it just finished. It's hard to see now, but it does look like the background is out of focus and Chris's face is in focus.
Yeah, so not as good as the phones that have two lenses. I think the Pixel 2 does. So we don't know how it works on that.
Right. So Laverne, you're going to have to try it and let us know how it works.
Yeah, you're going to have to teach us.
All right.
Let's see what my iPhone is doing.
Do you want me to dance while
Yeah,
you're doing this
of course.
sing a song? I don't think that's
My
a good
iPhone
idea.
says it's on, but that says it's not.
All right. Oh, well. The best laid plans. Maybe we'll make a recording and stick it in here somewhere.
Okay, just one more, and then I'll go under the under that.
Okay. Patience.
Okay. Nope, it is not cooperating.
Too bad.
I only did it like 5 times before show. Okay.
And
So the main thing I want to show.
oh, here's a tip.
What?
Maybe you should reboot it before we.
That's true. I rebooted the computer. So, but this part we can do just showing. So, I said clean the lens, right? So the lens, it's pretty obvious. The lens is right there. And I can take a picture and it will be nice and clean. All right. Now I decide to take a selfie and I'll show you the results in a minute. Now, that's the selfie lens that really needs to be cleaned, and it's on the front. It's the front-facing lens, and it's just a little dot, just a tiny little dot. We hand out these lens cleaners when we teach our live.
So if you see us in person, ask for one.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to give you one.
And now I'll take another shot. And now what I'll do is show you the results. Okay?
Maybe.
So...
Ready?
Yep. Should be. And there's the one I took with the rear.
Move it down and to the left. There we go.
That's the one of Jim taken with the rear. And there's the selfie with the dirty lens. And as you saw, all I did was clean the lens. And there's the other picture. Much, much better. So clean that lens, especially the selfie lens. Flash. Okay, this is fine to show under here. So I'm going into the camera app. And obviously, I'm not going to take much of a picture here, but I just want to show you on here where are the different settings. This is the iPhone. And the flash is this little lightning icon down here. But just tapping it isn't enough. When you tap it, you get on, off, and auto. So make sure I say make it off, and you will see that it's off by having the line through it. But every once in a while, you will need to turn it on. So you tap it and you tap on in order to turn it on. Now the lightning bolt shows up, and it shows up in gold up at the top. All right, but I'm going to turn that off. The other thing to notice is right here, it says 1x. That is where you tap to go into 2x. And then from there, you can even go higher. You can go all the way to 10x, but anything after 2 is digital. Just tap it again and it goes back to 1x. Tap it again and it goes to 2x. Now, notice that I am in video mode. I got there. Instead of photo, you just tap on video. But it's not taking a video now until I tap the button again. And so the only way to know, please don't do as I do and mess it up every time. When you try to take a video, only train your eyes to watch these numbers. That's the only way you know for sure that it is taking video.
And different cameras on the phones act differently. I have a Samsung, and when you go into video mode, it's rolling. It's taking video. On my Google phone, on my Pixel, when I tap video, it waits for me to tap it again, and then it's rolling, and then I can pause or stop.
All right. The other thing is the pano. Now, some people who know their iPhones well still don't know this little trick. And that is when you go into panorama mode, your iPhone is telling you, well, start at the left and go to the right. But what if you forgot that and you were all set up at the right end of what you wanted to pan? All you do is tap that arrow and it switches the other way around. And if you want to take a vertical panorama, let's say you want to take a panorama of a redwood tree, you can hold it this way and then you can pan up and or down. So you can pan left, right, up, or down as long as the arrow is going in the right direction.
Wow. Very cool.
Okay, I think that's about all. But yeah, the portrait mode, flash settings, video, clear lens. All right. And then the pano, the portrait mode takes those really pretty pictures. Use them. I think probably our biggest tip is explore. Your camera on your phone can do so many things that you just never thought of. Find the settings. And they're in different places. Like on the LG, you have to swipe in from the edge and more settings will appear. On other phones, you have to tap a gear and then another gear. So, settings. Yeah. There's slow motion video. There's fast motion video. There's lots of stuff to play with.
Okay. Let's take a look here. So Laverne says, does Panorama work like Street View with 360 sphere? And depends. Yes, it normally does. That's right.
Yeah, that's what. So if you don't have a photosphere setting like Jim does, and you want to be able to take that, you can use the Street View app. The Street View app gives you the ability on, I think, any phone. I think that's the purpose of it anyway. But I'm not sure. To take the 360 photosphere stuff.
Okay. My 3-line menu doesn't show lens blur as an option. I do have the Pixel XL. My Pixel is about 6 months old. Well, you probably have the Pixel 2. So, yeah, and I don't have one. I'm probably going to skip maybe 1 or 2 iterations here to see, but we'll have to check that out and we'll let you know. Marty says, is there something I should know to have a Facebook Live? A Facebook Live? I'm not sure.
Something you should know. Well, any phone with a camera will be able to do Facebook Live. You do that from Facebook. We're not Facebook Living right now. We are YouTube.
Yes, this
Live.
is a YouTube Live.
But on Facebook, if you tap on the spot where it wants you to say something about your life, you should see an option to go live. And I could show you that.
If it would work.
All right, reboot.
All right. Anyone else? Questions? Laverne says she has a friend who uses it on the Apple phone. Pretty
Uses Facebook Live.
cool. That's what it sounds
Yeah,
like.
Facebook Live is pretty awesome. I mean, giving you the ability from anywhere with nothing but a phone to broadcast to the world.
Pretty amazing.
You do have to have a good internet connection.
That's
Oh,
true.
have we mentioned why did we have the guts to do a live show here in a
almost
campground?
see it right up there behind the RV. There's a big cell tower right behind us there. So
We have outrageously good Verizon signal right here. So we
or
just
at least we think we do.
so it seems to be working pretty well.
All right.
Okay, no more.
No more questions.
Jeez. This is just.
Well, we do invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com and search for Geeks on Tour. You'll find us, and then click on the bell there so you get notified when we go live. What are you doing?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
I wish one of these days we'll figure it out. Do like us on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you can find Geeks on Tour and like the page. We appreciate that.
And if you join, realize that the workbook for this 6-hour smartphone photography class is available amongst our ebooks.
And it gets updated regularly. So if you haven't looked at it recently, you might find some new things in there. All right. Did you learn something? Yeah, reboot. Taking video can work one of two ways. Tapping video icon or tapping video icon and then start recording. How do you know for sure that the video recording is on?
Look at those numbers. Always look
It's
at
going
those
up.
numbers. Don't do what I do and
I
just
do it
tap
all
the
the
button
time,
and
too.
assume you're recording, and then you tap it to stop. And what's it do?
It starts
It
recording.
starts it.
Oops.
And that is because my excuse is my other phone does it the other way. As
Mhm.
soon as I tap video, it's recording.
It's good to have an excuse.
So watch the numbers.
Before taking any photo, first do what?
Clean the lens.
Clean the lens.
Clean the
A
lens.
t-shirt is fine. One of these microfiber claws is really, really handy. Flash, should you leave it on, off, or on auto?
Off. Leave it off. But know how to turn it on and when that you should turn it on.
Mostly for a fill flash situation. True or false? Panoramas can only be taken left to right.
Absolutely false. Left to right, right to left, top
Up.
to bottom,
Bottom to top.
bottom to top.
It can all be done.
Or if you have something like the Pixel, all around.
Or tap the appropriate icon on the screen. True or false? If your phone camera has a 2x zoom setting, it means you have 2 rear lenses.
As far as I know, that's true. It's certainly true for me. This is the iPhone 7 Plus, and there are some Androids with 2.
And we did see it with the Pixel 2 XL, I thought, in the class. Well, certainly the 8, the iPhone 8 Plus.
Plus, yeah.
Right. Which is usually the better camera, phones or tablets?
phones. I mean, unless you have a very old phone and a very new high-end tablet, the phone always has the better camera.
Good point. Which is the better lens, the front, the selfie lens, or the rear?
Once again, absolutely, the rear lens is the one that has more resolution and more options.
Cool. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. Why do people pay $58 a year to join Geeks on Tour, Chris?
First, because they like technology and they like to learn. We're always learning new stuff and teaching it. To ask us questions. That, I think, is the main reason.
That's a big one.
If you're a member, you can ask us any question and we will respond on our Q&A page. To gain access to hundreds of tutorial videos, learning guides, and ebooks, and to get the written notes from these What Does This Button Do shows, and to say thank you for all the free training they get from us.
So go to geeksontour.com and click on the link to become a member. Next time, we might have a live show next week, or we might be working.
Yeah, actually, I didn't update this.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
We're not going to be at the Escapade, but we are going to be at another rally.
We'll be at a different rally, yeah.
Be at the FMCA Great Lakes area rally, and we will be working. So I don't think we're going to have a live one.
But
next
if
Sunday.
it's really good and we have the time, we will certainly give it a shot.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I'm ready for it to be over, though. What do you got?
We're done.
Okay. Good show reminders. Good reminders. Some new. Okay, Laverne does say she has a 2XL. Very cool.
So you have two lenses then, right? On the rear, two rear lenses.
Well, that's it for this week. Watch for the notification of the next show we do, and we will see you next time.
Keep pushing those buttons.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you later.